The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Around the Jabroni, the hottest, newest, greatest wrestling debate show on the internet. I am your host, as per usual, from Buckle Bomb Entertainment, Sarah Visick. With me today, we got two returning guests and one brand new one, guaranteed to have a good time. To my right, we have Schwartzy. How are you?
Yes. Hello.
You pointed the wrong way.
Schwartzy here. Yes, you pointed the wrong way. I'm also looking the wrong way. Should I look at you like this? Hello.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having Schwartzy on your show.
All right. And below me, we have Anthony Blackwell of Tornado Tag Podcast. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm ready to rock.
And of course, we have Curtis Rich. How are you today?
I'm doing great, of course. Representing Clay Studios, which we do for all forms of entertainment, including podcasting. So
check him out. First up, to promote what they got going on, we have Schwartzy. Schwartzy, what do you got going on in life right now?
I've got plenty going on, but personally, I would like to tell you I just participated in the UWFI rules match over at Paradigm Pro Wrestling. Check out IWTV coming up here in the next couple of weeks. They're going to be releasing a couple episodes, and old Schwartzy gets down and dirty. But personally and professionally, on my account, on my front skis, we have a Flophouse Professional Wrestling this weekend. We are throwing another live event in the Indiana City Brewing Company. It will be a wonderful time. I actually have a tag title match myself with Kenny Skis against the Bitcoin Boys. They seem to be tearing it up. So if you would love to join us this Sunday, that's all Daddy gives a shit about.
And of course, look him up on Facebook and Twitch as well. He's got his morning show, Wake and Bake.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do, 9 a.m.
I'm about to check that out.
Mm-hmm. That's what, Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday?
Yes, Monday through Thursday, yes, we have a Wake and Bake with Schwartzy and the Radlock. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
We wake up every morning. We're on our bullshit. I don't know why, but people do encourage our bullshit. So please join us. As I tell all of our wonderful viewers, we are two very married men, which means we have an allergy to the stairs. And when we don't come home with money and views, we break out in steps. So please join us every Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. Please.
All right, first question. We'll get right into it. 2 minutes per question, guys. Anthony, you'll go up first here. Jim Ross on his Grilling with JR podcast suggested MJF will definitely be a world champion one day. Will he and should he be the one to take it off Hangman Adam Page?
Yes, please. Listen, Hangman Page has been doing as well of a job as he can, but it's hard to be the top babyface or the top babyface champion in the company when you're not the top babyface. I think his title run has been fun, but very lackluster. I think it's time we move on. And I think that the rightful guy for that title and the more entertaining guy for that title is going to be MJF.
Schwartzy?
Well, I'll tell you right now, MJF is definitely a future world champion in any capacity. The man, he's very young in the game. So that means his future's already incredibly bright. He will be a world champion wherever he ends up. He will be an absolute pillar to any company that he is with. Whether he needs to take the title off Hangman Adam Page, it does not matter. It does not matter who he personally takes the title off. If you're talking about does the title need to change, that's a whole different question. I do not believe he needs to be Adam Page. He just needs to beat somebody credible at some point in time to solidify the win, and it'll be solid.
Mm-hmm. Curtis?
I don't believe MJF should be the one to take it off Adam Page. I'm actually one of the very few people that actually have enjoyed Adam Page's
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, I think we lost him.
You caught the flu?
Oh, there we go.
There
I
it
don't
is,
know what
Dad.
happened there. I have no idea what happened there. But no, I find that I'm one of the very few that finds Adam Page's title run more just about the matches and not so much about the storylines, which I find a lot of people are very fascinated with the storylines, and that's what they remember more about a world championship run. Would MJF maybe benefit from taking it off off of Adam Page? Sure, he would get the heat for it, definitely, and he would definitely have a very good world championship run. But I think you should save that for someone that is a very incredible babyface that has a huge run with the title, because eventually they're going to take it off Adam Page, whether it's going to be someone like Adam Cole or it's going to be like a Kenny Omega again. I feel they should save it for something like could you imagine, like, for instance, like if Wardlow won the world title off of one of the biggest heels, and then next thing you know, MJF has an opportunity and he cashes it right then and there and takes it off of Wardlow. So Wardlow's world title run is only like a day, or maybe it happens at that time. Maybe they come up with some kind of money in the bank stipulation where he can just cash it in whenever. I think you should save it for that. Like, tease like a Wardlow world title run and then just take it away from MJF, because the amount of heat that you could get off that. I just think you could save it for a better world champion that would just soar MJF.
I'm just excited for another Texas death match.
Yeah.
That's usually a bad sign.
I like your argument, Curtis, with that. So I'm going to give you the point there. And Schwartz, you get the other point for this round.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to write that down so you don't take it away.
I must say, too, I appreciate everyone's mic game right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought it was hanging a little low and a little intrusive, but that's okay. Don't poke me too bad. 1 point.
All right, Schwartz, we'll let you go first on this next question here. The WWE, with more name changes recently to its stars, is it more of a control factor, or is it reasonable to have the wrestlers not use their real life or indie names?
I think you have to understand something that a lot of people don't want to come to terms with, that WWE is a very different company than AEW, but they both provide a base of professional wrestling. I've often said that professional wrestling is a large corporate building with many different departments in it, and whether you work in a department or not, or whether you like a department or not, all those departments make the corporate building work of professional wrestling. When you go to WWE, you have to understand that you are often asked to portray a character in the movies that they are telling. If you have not heard the famous Vince McMahon, "We make movies, pal," a line, then you haven't understood the man. That is the simplest line to describe Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and you cannot hate the man for it. That is what he provides. That is what he knows. That is what has made him millions, billions, back to millions, probably back to billions of dollars. They've had the most profitable year. So I once heard a little interview from the homegirl Doudrop, and she was telling you that she is not Piper Niven-Skis. She is Piper Niven-Skis. She is portraying this character. She is told to play Doudrop, and that is what she is being. She is a paid actress wrestler, and that's okay. It's a completely different company for a completely different reason with a completely different setup. So I think the name changes are fine, Skis. I think you have to embrace them. I love what Pete Dunne. I love Pete Dunne leaning into Butch. I love it very much. I think it is very nice and very fantastic. I think if you understand what WWE is there to provide, you can completely enjoy the product on a fair level. So if you do not like something, you are looking at it a little less unobjectively.
Agree. Curtis?
I'm going to add to Schwartz's point there, where a lot of fans don't understand from the business perspective of everything, and also intellectual property. A lot of people don't simply want to use their indie name or their real name in the terms of, well, what if WWE doesn't work out for me? What if this big company doesn't work out for me? Then what happens? I lose my name. I lose my credibility. You have to essentially start all over again. And then at the same time, the WWE, like you said, they're all about entertainment. They're all about making big stars and more specifically, making their own stars. So they're going to obviously or for the most part, change the name so then they can have their own intellectual property, which brings me back to the whole business thing. It may be a little bit more different because I work backstage at multiple like wrestling companies. I'm a little bit more in on the business, so I understand it a little bit more, and
You're gonna have
especially
to tell
running
me
my own
something.
studio. But I just feel that intellectual property is important, and that's why you have some stars before they even signed to WWE trademark their own name. So even if they use their own name in WWE, well, then they can negotiate like AJ Styles did, where it's just like, okay, I keep my own name. I can use AJ Styles wherever I want. If we don't work out, I still get to keep AJ Styles. You guys get to keep Phenomenal One. So you'll have negotiations like that. But WWE always wants a piece of a person or a superstar, or wants to make that superstar their own, grow their own home talent. So I have no problem with the name changes at all. And like Schwartzy said, though I'm not personally a big fan of the name Butch, he's making it work and he's making it his own. And that's the most important thing. And that's what you want for any wrestler or anyone that you're a fan of, is if they have a change and they make it work, I don't see the problem with it. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but I can get used to it, especially if it's a compelling character, because Pete Dunne hasn't changed. Pete Dunne is still the ass kicker that we know him to be. It's just the name has changed. That's it. The superstar is still there. The wrestler is still there. He's still the guy that I went to Destiny shows years ago fighting Marty Scurll. He's still the same fucking person. So he's just, like I said, it's WWE creating their own talent, their own name, their own intellectual property, which I know because my studio. So I'm working multiple just around wrestling and everything for the last few years. So my like I said, my opinion may be a little jaded because I'm more inside of things, but yeah, that's what I feel.
All right, Anthony, how do you feel?
I agree, but I will disagree as well. Once again, having some insight, working with talent who came from a promotion on the indie scene where they were given a name and given a character, and then built up that character, and then had to go and rebrand themselves and change. It kind of comes down to the same thing with WWE. They want to own everything. They want to control. They want to own all that property. They didn't like the fact Adam Cole and Keith Lee can go somewhere else and take that name, and that brand recognition goes with them. So that's what they're doing now. They're changing everyone's character. They're changing and if you're talent, obviously you're under a contract, you got to do what they say. If not, then you go home. And that's just kind of how it goes down. Having a conversation with Mercedes Martinez when she was supposed to go with Retribution. She's like, not doing it. Like, I worked too hard for too long. I'm too old. I'm not changing everything about me so you can put me in this weird gimmick. Like, you hired me because I'm Mercedes Martinez. If you're not using me Mercedes Martinez, then get rid of me. And that's what it comes down to as a talent. Honestly, that's why I prefer outside of WWE, because when you hire someone, you're like, man, you're really good at being a podcaster. Can you build a microphone? You're like, no, that's not what I do. That's not the character. That's not what I've worked on for 10 years for you to be spotlighted and see me as that. So it's why it's nice to have other games in town that you can go and keep your craft going. But I think taking a guy who held one of your titles, but it all comes down to they don't really care about that title. But he held the UK title longer than almost anybody. And now he's just completely erased as that character, as that person. Like, all that work, all that time, just gone to be Butch. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. If they change Ciampa, we'll see. But which I'm strongly thinking they're probably going to. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to get on both sides get on that spectrum, because, like I said, you work really hard to create that character and create yourself. And when WWE's like, you can't make any money off anything that we can't own. That's what it comes down to.
Agree. Very good, valid points on both sides there. That earns you a point. Curtis, you'll get the other point for this round. All right. And that'll take us to Curtis. What do you got to promote coming up now?
Oh my God. I got a lot. So my podcast, which is Where's My Mind, a deep dive into Curtis Rich, where I talk to basically everyone that I've ran into or encountered, and at the same time getting to know people like from wrestlers to directors to actors. We recently just got John Stalker on, and our part 2 episode is going to be coming out on Wednesday, which now the podcast is actually moved to Wednesdays now. They were originally on Mondays, but due to schedule conflicting and just how my interviews have just been going lately, because I just seem to be getting schedules on Mondays, so it's been hard to try to record at like 6 a.m. and then get it out for 9 a.m. Like that's a real like crazy, because especially when the interviews go like 2 hours. So we moved it to Wednesdays, and then on top of that we got I'm known as the Gumby guy. Ontario Gumby. I've done it for 10 years. And I've always loved playing a character, just entertaining kids, entertaining basically any event that I could go to, conventions. And that's been very fulfilling for me. But at the same time, it also has this glass ceiling, much like Vince McMahon talks about with his wrestlers, where I can only go so far, but I can't exactly punch through that ceiling because it's not a character that I exactly own. I'm a parody character, so I can only go so far with it. So I've been working on that, and I created a character that's a little bit different, and it's a little bit of a different brand. And I actually have a part of the costume for me, and it was a very expensive costume, but it's this guy right here. So this guy is named Fuzz Buttons, and he has been a 3-year plan for a graphic novel series that I am introduced to, because I am an artist, and I've always been an artist since I was 13 years old. I can't go into much details on it because it's still very much with my partners and everything like that, but I'm making the announcement now on it that yeah, I'm starting to go to events as this character and actually promote that said comic. So you probably, if you are well adapt to the convention scene in Ontario and you've seen me around for the last 10 years as Gumby, you're going to start seeing me around as this guy going forward. I'm not going to stop doing the Gumby thing because it always gives me gratification. I always love entertaining you guys, but I'm moving forward at the same time with a new character and trying to do something of my own intellectual property under Clay Studios Productions. So that's what I have been going on, and basically has been consuming my last 3 months. On top of, at the same time, I am wrestling training now. So I'm actually going to HPW with Rip Impact and going under his training. So that's been very interesting. My ring name's Adrian Clay. You can, if you want to know more about that, I have all that on my studio stuff, so you can check out all my social medias for that. But he's a very out there character. But that's also something I've actually been working on for 6 years. So I'm finally in the ring, and I'm feeling good about it. So it's been really crazy over here. So but that's pretty much what I have going on.
All right, fantastic. We will get to the next question. We'll go first. Bret Hart is set to manage FTR at one of Big Time Wrestling's upcoming events. Should this be a one-off, or should he continue managing them beyond this event?
Who's first?
Yeah,
Curtis.
Oh, I'm first. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Brett Hart is set to manage FTR. I gotta reread that again. I'm sorry, I gapped. FTR on the Big Wrestling event. Should he be the one-off or continue? I think it should be a one-off. Honestly, I don't feel like Brett has anything to prove to us anymore. And not to mention, due to his health and everything, I don't really feel like he has that kind of health to really travel. And but mainly, like I said, I really just don't feel like Brett really needs to prove anything to us. I mean, if he's in good condition to go with FTR and it would be beneficial, absolutely. But I mean, wasn't FTR with Tully for a bit? And then what happened with that? I mean, Tully is also very, very notable as well as a manager and has had very great success, but he did nothing he has done nothing and continues to do nothing for FTR. And I just feel like swapping into another legend is just kind of pointless unless you actually have a direction for it. And let alone how many strokes has Bret Hart had? How many like conditions? It's much like how I don't want Ric Flair doing much anymore simply because of his health. Right. Much like I also don't want Hulk Hogan doing much, but Hulk Hogan's more reasons beyond just health. But yeah, it's just I feel Bret has nothing to prove, and I feel like there's no real direction for that.
All right, Anthony.
I think it's going to be more than a one-off, unfortunately. I'm a Sean guy all day. So when it comes to Bret Hart, here's the only thing. I don't like when he goes publicly and he's like, well, Goldberg's getting all this money because he kicked me in the neck one time and now I can't make money and Bill Goldberg's making money. So let him go to AEW. Let him be a manager. Let everyone see how entertaining he is as a character on screen. Until Sean actually made him actually angry is the only time he was anytime entertaining to me as a character. But he's just going to stand there. He's going to do his thing. He's going to remind everyone he's the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be, and he'll collect a paycheck, and hopefully he'll be happy, and then he'll go off in the sunset.
Schwartzy. Your fans joining us on the Twitch comments with the Schwartzy emojis with the title belt.
Look at that corn dog. Look at that tiny corn dog. What's up, baby? It's good, homie. Well, I think we're all in agreement here. I can agree. I would like to see this as a one-off. I would like to only see this once, and I would like to see it no more. I would like to see no more of it. I do believe there's a place for Bret Hart in professional wrestling on screen and all that good stuff. Absolutely. I do not believe that is it for me. Are we asking what we want out of Bret Hart, or what are we asking out of FTR? So for me, if you're asking what I'd like out of Bret Hart, I would like to see him be the head of some sort of stable, but maybe you can give him some sort of Godfather-esque role where he does not need to be present, but more for promos and stuff like that, and maybe head and aid a stable of up-and-comers of some sort of Hart Foundation or some shit like that. Yeah, something like that. I would like to see something from Bret on screen, but that would not be it. Now, if you're asking what I'd like to see out of FTR as far as a manager, I do believe they are a good team functioning with a manager skis. I do believe that if you get the right manager skis with them, but what I'd also like to say is that these two are very, very well-rounded and seasoned. What I'd like to see them do is get over a new manager or someone that's up and coming that could use the rub or the spot or some shit like that. I would like to see them get a new manager and bring that manager up to the spotlight and see what they can do and create something new and fresh. Because if you create a new star with FTR and a new manager, something very unique, skis, you have something that you can run for a very long time.
Very, very excellent points there. Point for Schwartzy, and we're going to go point for Anthony on this one as well.
I'll write that down. It's 2 points.
All right. Anthony, you're first on the next question here.
Oh, look at my work.
The Good Brothers are set to be free agents this summer. Should they resign with Impact, or should they go somewhere else? And where should they go?
I think it comes down to who wants to sign them and how much they're willing to pay. I think Impact's a decent spot for them, but I think they're definitely wherever they're going to go. I think the Impact deal was kind of set in place to be like, hey, we're going to be with Impact, but as soon as that travel restriction opens back up, we're going to Japan. Like I would almost guarantee you're going to see the Good Brothers back in Japan. I think you're going to see a lot of people. I think that the cross promotion is going to go crazy with New Japan very, very soon. But I think their heart is in Japan, and I think an Impact is a good spot for them when they come back home to the States. They can do Impact and possibly AEW. But yeah, I think you're going to see them in New Japan.
Schwartzy.
I honestly, I have to agree 100%. I see they're either going to side with New Japan, short-term deals, long-term deals over there, or free agency is the best for their money. Right now, they're going to make their most money betting on the Good Brothers. So, like, the thing is with AEW skis and Impact skis and companies like NWA is you can be contracted to short-term contracted. You are not locked in, and they are not very restrictive, and you're going in there, and you're benefiting the company, and the company benefits you. And if everything's working out smoothly, you can extend these contracts at any point in time and make them more official once you've kind of all, it's like dating. It's like you're dating, you're courting a company. You can actually court these companies now that there's more companies around. You can kind of do these short-term deal skis. So I believe they should stay free agents. I do not believe they should have any hard re-sign. I believe their product stands on its own 2 feet skis, but I do believe that they can do good short-term contracts, I guess, if you want to say. So I would say free agency.
I got a chance to see Doc at doing a seminar at an indie show, and he's absolutely fantastic. And the knowledge he gave to up and coming indie talent was unbelievable. So I can definitely see him, like he said, play the free agents, work indies, go pretty much go wherever they want. I'm sure they're able to walk in the doors of AEW, New Japan, and Impact, and just be
the old
just
Kevin
fine.
Nash. Yeah, Kevin Nash used to do the same shit, and it was wonderful and fantastic.
Yep.
Fuck yeah, Kevin Nash.
Schwartzy, Good Brothers to Flophouse? Yes or no?
Fuck yeah! You get looking for sponsors for the Good Brothers on the next Flophouse event. Contact Schwartzy at Schwartzy at Twitter and all my other bullshit.
Curtis, how do you feel about the Good Brothers coming up here?
Honestly, the Good Brothers are money, and they're very happy at the same time. While they're set to be free agents, they're also very happy with Impact, and Impact's very happy with them. And I feel like they're about to resign with Impact with a very Chris Jericho-like contract where they're able to actually go to New Japan or go wherever else, or maybe even go to AEW, because obviously Impact's wanting to make waves. And why would you want to lose one of your best tag teams right now? Especially if you can just pay them a little bit more green and give them a little bit more freedom. So I feel like they're actually about to sign probably one of the biggest Impact deals that lets them go freely to New Japan, which also buries the hatchet with New Japan, because Impact has fucked up that relationship with New Japan various times. And what a better way to start mending that bridges with continuing the Bullet Club expansion into Impact, and also keeping that relationship, so then you can drive that further. Then we can have some even more dream matches, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll have some big stars from New Japan come back stateside, and they won't be so scared to actually have us book them over here, because that's where the situation is. They're still afraid about what happened years ago with all their stars, and I don't blame them. But it's at the same time, what a better way to mend that bridge with Impact and New Japan than sign an incredible deal with the Good Brothers? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, yes, it's more money if they sign with AEW or they sign with New Japan or they somewhere. But if that was the case, if they wanted the money, they would go back to WWE again. Because I guarantee they probably also had an offer at WWE that no one else knows about, because they have gotten red hot again. And the only reason why they were let go in WWE in the first place was because Heyman was just, oh, you should get rid of them. We were paying them $700,000 a year. That's no money. That's not a small amount to scoff at. Well, I mean, they're already set for money. I don't even think it's really about the money, and they're just playing that just to get the best deals possible. But they're happy with Impact, and I feel like that is more important than anything else, is to be happy with the company that you are signed with. And they shout the praises for Impact, so I feel like they're about to sign probably one of the biggest deals, and no one's going to see it coming.
All right, agree there. Curtis, point for you. Anthony, good points from you as well. So I'm going to give you a point for that one as well.
We just re-signed Ace Austin.
I'm going to tell you right now, It's always about the money.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, it always comes to it.
Yeah, Ace Austin just recently signed a pretty nice deal with Impact as well.
All right, before we get to the next question, Anthony, what do you got to promote?
Oh boy, a lot. I won't go too crazy though. The IWEP network, I do a handful of podcasts ranging in beers, to wrestling, to paranormal, supernatural, to pop culture, to interviews. I interview people on interviews with everyday people. But besides the wrestling, the Tornado Tag, we're live every single Thursday at 8 o'clock. We do a lot of history and topic-based shows. We don't do a lot of weekly reviews. We kind of, if something big happens, we talk about it. But for the most part, we stick with our topic. This Thursday, we're going to talk about Spring Stampede, Part 1, the first one they did. some fun matches on that card. So that's what we're going to cover. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, it's Anthony Blackwell Jr. You get to see some of the promotions I do commentary for. The show that we just did for Outbreak Wrestling that was at the Monster Factory was really, really cool. That's up right now. And then I just did a show on Saturday for PPW, which will be on Fight TV very soon. It was an awesome card. Lance Archer versus Mike Orlando, Alpha Jr. versus Jay Lethal. A lot of cool matches on there. A 4-way match between Jordan Oliver, Dante Martin, Action Andretti, and Griffin McCoy, which was unbelievable. These guys were jumping all over the place. It was crazy. But yeah, you can check all that out on all my social medias. I try to share that out so you can watch some crazy fun independent wrestling. And piggyback on him, Shortsy up there, IWTV, best bang for your buck. Subscribe to that network, and literally you can't go wrong if you want to watch independent wrestling. IWTV.
All right, fantastic. Schwartz, you get to go first.
What'd I do?
You are answering first this time. Are you ready?
I only have 2 points, so I can't fuck this up.
We're going to stick with the Impact theme here.
Okay.
Impact last week got its biggest viewership since January. It was about 149,000 viewers. Can they keep up their upward trend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have everything at their fingertips, skis. They have everything going for them. They have played ball with all of the big companies. Even if 2 of those companies tell them to fuck off tomorrow, they've got 7 other companies they have done well by, and they will always work well with other people. Right now, Scott Demorskis has got a wonderful little plan in place with the company. You have to give the guy credit. He has, let's say this, you say that there's ego in booking sometimes with Vince McMahon skis and all that shit. And sometimes even Tony Khan will say some things because of ego skis. These are big. If you have to say there's one promoter out there on a high level that has no ego, that is willing to work with everybody, just say it's good business skis. It is Scott D'Amore and Impact. I believe that they are in an absolute upward trend, and if they just keep up what they are doing and they stay at it, slow and steady organic growth wins the race.
Awesome. Curtis.
Yes, they can definitely keep that upward trend. And I will allude back to all the points that I said in my last point, where it's just they're just so red hot with this collaboration with Bullet Club, and that's making not only Bullet Club exciting again, it's also making Impact exciting again. It's getting people to tune in, check out what the hell's going on, who's going to be collaborating with Impact next, because they just seem like they want to work with everyone, and I'm all for that, because collaboration over competition, baby. And like, just literally they're red hot. So I can definitely see the upward trend, because Impact's always been this underdog that everyone's just always written off and said, no, Impact's dying. Oh, TNA's dying. Oh, this company's going to be dead in another year. And they've always came back from that mentality every single time. And now they have people talking about them. And because they have people talking about them and nonstop, I feel like we're going to see a huge upward trend, even to the point where we may see AEW and Impact actually try to collaborate again, but in a different way, where it's not just AEW steamrolling through Impact, it's Impact steamrolling through AEW, because it seems like that shift of momentum is starting to change. So, yeah, I definitely see it going on an upward trend, because it's exciting to watch every week.
Fantastic. Anthony.
Yeah, I think they're on a great trend. Maybe take a little bit of a different approach from the 2 answers there. Your booking is amazing. You're doing great storylines. Even if you're not into the Good Brothers stuff, their women's division is top notch. I think Tasha Steelz is holding it down. I think Moose has been a great champion. You got Matt Cardona, who's probably the hottest guy on the independent scene in there, doing what he's got to do. Re-signing Ace Austin is a big deal for them, because they show they got some cool things going on with him. Their network that their subscription base is worth the money now, because they get their pay-per-views on there. Those 80 retro TV programs they've been doing every now and then are an absolute must-watch blast.
Josh Alexander.
They got a lot of great things going on there. Yeah, they have all the possibilities in the world to keep trending. But I think here's the unsung hero of what is making Impact do is just doing well. Is Impact is letting their stars go work independent scenes, and when when these stars show up at independent shows and they promote Impact and they give you a reason because you become more of a fan of their stars because they're out in the indie scenes putting that work in. I think they're drawing those independent fans to they'll go there and then support Impact because they're just good representations of what they are for the company and bringing that along with them when they go to these promotions. I met Tasha Steele not too long ago. She did exactly that. She went in there. She did her whole thing where I'm killing Mickey James. I'm going to kill it. That's fans. Doc Gallows walking in with the Impact title, swinging it around like it's a big dick. He's going to get Impact fans that way. Like he's just, every single person who leaves that company, goes out in the independent scene, is just bringing fans in with them. Moose, I got to work with him twice. Great representation of the company who goes out and brings more fans back. They're doing a fantastic job.
Very good. Very excellent points there. Point to you on that one. By the way, Impact's next pay-per-view is this Saturday, the 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not far from me, and actually, because it's in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I'm actually going to be there, so I'm excited for that one.
Sick.
Nice.
I got third row seats for $60. Couldn't pass that up.
Another reason Impact's doing good. They're not gouging you on ticket prices to go see their shows.
And Schwartzy, I think you earned the other point on that one there.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
So
Write it down. Write it down.
we are
Let
down.
me say this too. I have to add to what you said, Anthony. You can go around and do all the house shows you want, and you can spend all the money as a large company to move all your bullshit around and set up your whole production skis and all that. You set up the whole cocksucker and put him down the ramp and put a card together. Or you could save a fuckload of money and let these guys work the independents here and there. And you save. Can you imagine the money? I'm just saying they're saving. It's a great.
It's free marketing. It's free marketing.
I watched Jonah versus Moose before it happened on the indie show and got to call it on commentary. And then they went and did another pay-per-view and killed it.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with house shows or shit. I love a good house show. They go all out, but you save if you're a business and you're not WWE with a billionaire backing you hard as fuck. Letting these people go to the shows and represent you are like little house shows all over every part of the country at simultaneous times. It's like multiple WrestleMania locations at once.
Yep. And every time they show up, they're walking around with the titles. Impact's like, yeah, take our title to a promotion and show it off. And yep.
All right. Last question. With time constraints, let's go 1 minute or less on your best answer to this question.
All right.
You are first here. William Regal is set to debut a new podcast. What big-time wrestling personality should get the next podcast?
Well, there's two other ones that are rumored out there. I'll just kind of throw that out before I give my answer because I heard Mick Foley's supposedly getting a podcast very soon, and The Undertaker's getting a podcast. I'm only saying podcast because you can't actually listen to it audio. It has to only be done on the network, which annoys me. That's not a podcast. You're just putting a show on your network.
Yeah.
Which I please bring Stone Cold's back to audio so I can actually listen to it in my car.
Network.
Yes.
But William Regal's a good one, man. If I had to pick who I'd want to hear a podcast by, and he would never probably do it, but he's been very, very entertaining every single time he's done one. John Moxley has got some insane stories, and he's been very, very good every time he's been on his wife's podcast and AEW Unrestricted because he's just so open. And imagine his stories of going from, sure, I'm John Moxley at AEW, and sure, I'm John Moxley at in New Japan, but I'm also John Moxley who just showed up at a house show, an indie show that had 36 people in it and wrestled for and shocked everybody. Like those stories got to just be fun, and that guy is just living his best life and enjoying professional wrestling for all it's worth. It will never happen, but I would love to hear more from John Moxley, and that's coming from a guy who was not a Dean Ambrose fan at all.
Curtis.
I would love if Dustin Rhodes would start his own podcast. He joins in so many interviews and other podcasts, and he has no problem just spilling the beans on just so many different things. Could you imagine the podcast that he just runs himself, that he literally just gives out his stories? He has such an incredible mind, and the fact that he is in his prime at like his age is just ridiculous, and how he could still just go to this day, and in some retrospects even better than he could go in his earlier days. So it's like, imagine the amount of knowledge and the amount of just stories he could tell on his own podcast, because if you just type Dustin Rhodes podcast, you'll get 1,000,001 different guest hosts that he's been in, and every single one he has a great story to tell. I always enjoy him on everything, especially on Talk is Jericho, which was one of his most recent ones. But I would love if he could just come up with his own podcast, because I love Dustin Rhodes. I've always been a fan of him, especially his Gold Dust. So it's just just to hear his insight would be amazing.
And him and Moxley both have that great chemistry of, not chemistry, but those great, like those stories of inspiration of their recovery and becoming clean. And
Schwartzy, what do you got for us?
So I think it's very important with all the wrestling podcasts that are out there today. You need something different. I think you do have a lot of legends, and you have a lot of people kind of coming from that kind of perspective. And it's not that I wouldn't want to hear Dustin or something like that. I'd want something different, but you do want a veteran, because you want somebody that can lead the conversation, that can kind of guide whoever they bring on. I do believe that. So I think a fresh perspective, and hear me out, Shane Helms. I think Shane Helms, because now you're also talking about the way he speaks, because he speaks very enjoyable. He's very enjoyable for my ears. It's very nice when it touches my ears, the way he speaks with people, his mannerisms, the way he knows everybody. He's been involved in every major company, pretty much coming up without, AEW up until recently, but he knows absolutely everybody. He's been in cruiserweight matches with everybody in WCW. He's even done big time stuff with the Undertaker here and there. I think Shane Helms is your guy. I think Shane Helms is a very fresh, not this like jaded or top or like, he's been around enough, and he's still a little active, and he's got so much appreciation in his heart for the business, skis, and he's been around so many people, and he's so well respected, skis. I do believe Shane Helms would be a fresh perspective on a podcast.
He's done almost every facet of the business too. He's trainer, production, everything. He can come at it from any angle. I agree with that. That'd be a cool one.
Yes.
I don't think you could go wrong with either one of these, honestly. All three of them could be insightful for various different reasons.
Anthony, you got a point there. I think John Moxley would be great. He has done fantastic on Renee's podcast.
He talked about doing coke and going to a public library and just reading books for 8 hours a day. Like, give me that story all day. And like winning the champion and banging Renee off her balcony in New York. Like, I want all those stories.
I want his book. I keep trying to find his book, and his book's always sold out every single time.
Amazon. Go to Amazon.
Oh,
don't do that.
All right, Schwartzy, I think you get the other point. Shane Helms, yeah.
Give me one of Curtis's points. He's leaving. I'll take one of his points too. He's not going to need them.
All right. Well, for the final question, Schwartzy versus Anthony here. Anthony, you are in the lead, so you will get to pick. Do you want to answer the last question first, or do you want Schwartzy to go first?
What?
I'm going to defer. I'm going to defer to Schwartzy.
Fuck off. What does that mean? Oh, I'll just go. Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
Go first. You go first.
You're pulling a me tactic.
All right. So, WWE announced the return of one of their favorite side shows, Dinner for Three. If you're not familiar, it's three wrestlers all coming up and eating dinner together, sharing stories. It's the return show. It's coming back. What three superstars would make for what three personalities would make for a good dinner conversation?
Shit. That is three people, not just one on the fly.
Three on the fly.
No, I would like to see, hear me out. Let's go with D'Lo Brown, Val Venus, if he wasn't fucking crazy. Hold on, and I'll tell you why. Val Venus, if he wasn't fucking crazy. And just some X-Pac skis, and it would be the Sunday Night Heat edition of Table for Three.
Okay.
3 workhorses from Sunday Night Heat. I would like to know, they used to go super hard on Sunday Night Heat. So a Table for Three where they talked about how they had to do all their shit on Sunday Night Heat before Raw. I would like to know about that.
Anthony, what about you?
I'm gonna strike while the iron's hot, and I'm gonna use 2 major storylines. I'm gonna do a Table for Three, and I'm gonna do the Click. I'm gonna do Shawn, I'm gonna do Triple H, and I'm gonna do Kevin Nash. They can tell you Kevin Scott Hall stories. They can tell you Triple H stories. I mean, all 3 of those guys. Just that, and I hope they don't hold back and just really get into like, man, Shawn, you were a scumbag. Like, I want to hear scumbag Shawn stories. I want all that. I want Click stories. I want Table for Three with the Click, and I want them to embarrass Christian Shawn. I think that'd be beautiful.
I agree. I think that would be.
I thought they've done that one though. Maybe
They
I'm
might
wrong.
have. I haven't. I could have just did it. I want a part 2 now.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not. I might be stoned.
I might be as well.
Anthony, I think you're our winner for tonight. Congratulations.
The 3-time.
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 Time.
Yeah. I real quick, I have a quick question just throw out there. What are your predictions for the big announcement on Wednesday?
I believe it's a streaming service for Ring of Honor and or AEW.
Agreed.
I'm gonna say
service.
I'm gonna go Super Show. I think we're gonna get a New Japan AEW Super Show. I think we're gonna finally, because the travel restrictions are lifted, I think you're gonna see a big collision, and hopefully it's in Madison Square Garden.
Let's hope for all the above.
Either that or it's wishful thinking on my end, but announce a Canada tour because I want them to come to fucking Canada.
That'd be dope. That'd be a big hit for them. But listen, thank you all so much. I appreciate you having me on again, Sarah. You guys are all absolutely fantastic. Please follow me on social media. I would love to share all your content and watch all your amazing things.
Yeah,
and we will everybody in the comments of the video here when it comes up to YouTube. Everybody have a great night.
See you guys.
You.